Hey everybody, welcome back to Jeff Bull Central. We're reviewing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League today. Played this on the Xbox Series X. It's also available on PC and PS5. I played this with my wife in co-op, and I was hoping it would be a lot more fun. It wasn't a terrible game as far as we were concerned. It's got a lot of enjoyable things, but boy, it misses maybe just as often as it hits. So this is a game from Rocksteady Studios, famous for the Batman Arkham trilogy. There's a fourth Arkham game that they didn't make. They made the trilogy, the one that really stands head and shoulders above most other comic book adaptation video games ever made. Those games were really supremely sophisticated. They were a hell of a lot of fun. They were really impressive for their time. They're still kind of impressive, those Arkham games. And so Rocksteady hasn't made a video game in many, many years since the release of Arkham Knight, the last of that trilogy. And lo and behold, they're back with another DC Comics thing. It's just that it's not in the same category. It is in the same universe, but it's not in the same league as the Arkham games. So first of all, what this is, it's a live service game, which means that it's meant to keep you playing for an endless amount of time, theoretically, if it's worth it, which it kind of isn't. The end game is very quickly very boring, and it's kind of just a summation of all the little mini game challenges that you played throughout this game, because that's kind of what it is. It's like this beautiful map of Metropolis from the DC universe, Superman's stomping ground, right? And there's a story here that is actually not bad. It's funny when it needs to be funny. It's sharp when it needs to be sharp, and it's goofy DC Comics fun when it needs to be that too. I actually really enjoyed the story, but the thing is, it's kind of just like a framing device, like a loose framing device for all the mini games. Basically, it's like little tiny objective-based, shooter-based, looter shooter type games. Because that's the other thing, is it's a looter shooter, so you're meant to be constantly leveling your character's shield and gun and secondary weapon and melee weapon and all that stuff, including leveling up, because there's also RPG elements here. So it's meant to grow with you, but I got to tell you, the variety of these little mini games, these little objective-based shooter incidents. The substance of them is pretty same pretty quickly, and that becomes evident just in the story, let alone the end game. One cool thing about it is map traversal. You see here, I'm using Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang turned out to be my favorite of the four Suicide Squad members: Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, King Shark, and Deadshot. I like the way he moves because he's got Speed Force powers based on a gauntlet that he steals in the beginning of the game. He moves better than Harley, who's mostly like Batman-like. He moves better than Deadshot. So traversal is a lot of fun getting through this map, which is fortunate because there's not really any fast travel to speak of. And the combat is... Here's what I really want to talk about. Now, if you've played the Arkham games, how precise and tight and frankly godlike you could feel by really nailing the combat as the Batman, right? Because he had this sixth sense, right, where you could tell a movement, an attack was incoming. You could block it, you could counter. There was all these different crazy moves. By the end of any of those four games, you were a monster. You were just like, you were the Bat. This thing is like pray and spray. You know what I mean? This thing is like, I'll just dump as many rounds at these purplish brainiac monstrosities that are polluting this beautiful map of Metropolis. Brainiac's thugs, they're the same all the time. And, kind of like Arkham, this map of Metropolis is really devoid of anything but bad guys. There's no indication that people have lived here, that it's like not Metropolis, the biggest city in the DC universe, right? So when all you see is purple monstrosities littering everywhere, and there's nothing else to fight but purple monstrosities the whole game, and all you're doing is praying and spraying, And there are some diversifications to how each character fights and plays. There certainly are. You're never going to get the same from one to the other, not exactly. And there are also different ways to develop your character and make it more suited to you, as far as what bonuses you get and what, super moves you get and things like that. But gosh, you spend, I don't know, 4 hours with this game, you've spent it all. You really have. And, the other thing that's really upsetting about this game for me is that conceptually I feel like it's a complete failure. Complete failure from the bottom to top, and I will tell you why. Conceptually. I'm talking about the basic concept behind the game. Because, in my opinion, now I am a DC Comics fan, okay? I love DC Comics. I kind of have my whole life, in addition to Marvel Comics. I love comic books, okay? But why am I killing the Justice League? I don't want to kill the Justice League as a fan. And this is entirely opinionated content here that I'm giving you right now. But how awesome would it have been? Rocksteady's like, I built this amazing map of Metropolis, and you get to be Superman in it instead of Deadshot, instead of Harley Quinn or Captain Boomerang, the third stringers, the Suicide Squad. They made this decision, I believe, seems to me, Rocksteady and DC Comics and Warner Brothers, as most particular, Warner Games, made this decision to do a Suicide Squad game, it seems, because of the success of the first Suicide Squad movie. And there was a second Suicide Squad movie that was better because it was directed and written by James Gunn. But it didn't make any money, mostly because it came out during COVID, secondarily because people are getting sick of comic movies because they overdid it, right? So they're stuck with this decision to use the Suicide Squad when really I want to be the Justice League. You modeled the Justice League, you gave me Metropolis, and I'm supposed to kill the Justice League. Like, I want to do that. Like, that's like the top DC fantasy I've ever come up with, is kill my heroes. I don't get it. I don't get why the Suicide Squad, as a backup, as a follow-up to something as monumental as the DC Arkham, as the Batman Arkham games. It's kind of the Suicide Squad. It's a fine property, but it's not the Justice League. It's not Batman. It isn't Superman. It's not Green Lantern. It's not the Flash. And when you make me kill them, I'm sorry. I'm just not as interested as I would have been. Okay, so that's like a mini rant. That rant is over. You're gonna find mileage will vary with that one, but it kind of leads to the main thesis for why this is a weak game compared to the strength of Arkham. And that's like business decisions, bad decisions, puzzling decisions. It plays fine. It moves fine. It's not a not fun game. But this live service thing stinks, man. This idea that we're just like a slot machine that Warner Games is just going to keep going back to, an ATM machine, every time they want us to pay $10 for a new character skin. It's $10 for a character skin, for a single character. And then if you want to pay for all the modifications that can come with it, it's upwards of $30 for a single skin, for a single character. It's crazy town, guys. Furthermore, the last thing I have to say, I was getting dropped. Me and my wife were getting dropped from the servers like crazy. Like you wouldn't believe. So you can't even stay in the game as of right now. It is February 7th. The game just came out about 5 days ago. And I can't stay on the servers. I can't. So all that considered, the fact that it's, forgive me, kind of a lazy knockoff of Arkham, kind of a lazy knockoff of, God, I don't know, Fortnite, any live service game, like, I just don't even know. I don't know where their head was at. I'm sorry that this had to be the product that they finally released after all these years. I'm going to give Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League a 6 out of 10. And that pains me, because that's a lot lower than I wanted this to be. But look, I'm just puzzled by it. I don't know why we couldn't have gotten something like a Superman game or a Justice League game. Oh, Rocksteady, you did it. You did it to me. Yeah. Okay, do me a favor, everybody. This is my newest musical release, Audiophile One. It is remastered, resequenced, remade version of my first album that I put out, I guess about 4 years ago now. I always wanted it to sound a little bit better. I always wanted it to flow a little bit better, so that's what I've done here. You can check this out. Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, even here on YouTube. That's it. That's all I gotta say. I am spent, or spient. Is that the French? No, that sounds more German. A spinta. That's the Italian. Sorry if I just offended people.